Joining me live in our studios to discuss this development and more is Public Affairs Analyst Gbolahun Olojede. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
A quick one. Both reactions from the PDP and the INEC chairman. Who is right, who is wrong, or what's your position?
There's no right and wrong. It's their individual positions. As far as PDP is concerned, it has lost an election, and it believes there are things that did not go right about that election, and it reserves the right to say what it feels and then take the necessary processes to ensure that it gets justice, whatever justice means to them. As far as INEC is concerned, it has delivered an election that is good enough, and that irrespective of the imperfections, that the final result reflects the general wish, reasonably, of the people. Now, there are certain issues about this election that we need to, from my perspective as a voter, that we need to take cognizance of and improve upon in subsequent elections. Even while the aggrieved party goes to court to seek redress in this particular one. The fact that we had to wait for 3 or 4 days before the result is out is not good enough. When you look at those huge sheets that the INEC chairman deals with, we saw a situation in which somebody couldn't even see the numbers. I think the rec from Undo could not see the numbers. He asked for ruler, he asked for illumination, and all that sort of. We need to move away from a heavily manual situation. When you have to deal with a lot of figures in the manual space, the more the manual intervention, the more the documents are prone to errors. That's the reality. Okay,
do you see the PDP conceding defeat in this case? They've already started objecting, but unlike the previous election where the candidate of the PDP called to say, congratulations to Buhari, we've not seen that yet.
That will depend solely on one person, and that is Atiku. In the case of Jonathan, there were people who not want Jonathan to concede. But if you look at the account of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who was also in that room when Jonathan did the concession, the guy left all of them in the place where they were all seated as if he was going to the restroom. And by the time he came out, he told them that he had just called the president and congratulated him. So it's different from where you now have party, wanting to go further on certain issues. You have other interests wanting to go further. So you cannot be too sure where this will go. The one man who can decide, who can have a strong influence on whether there will be court sessions or not, is Atiku Abubakar himself.
What options are available to the PDP now? Do you expect INEC at any point to call for a rerun? Do you see that in the offing at all?
I don't think there's a rerun. The conditions for rerun are clearly established in the Act in itself, and those conditions are not there right now. Now, it is left for PDP in the course of the court process to establish that there is actually a case for rerun. If he's able to establish that, then the court might order that for this reason, for that reason, we need to revisit this particular incident. Apart from that,
the concerns raised about card reader, your quick thought on that before we continue, because that's one of the major things. Some people were authenticated, but they couldn't read. The card readers malfunctioned. A lot of questions about the card reader. How would you react to the concerns raised by not only PDP, but other candidates?
Yes. It's still something that requires to be established. You need to establish it. Now, there has been reports from left and right and everywhere, practically all over Nigeria, there are incidences in which either card reader failed or whatever. There are problems. But the fundamental question will be, are those incidences significant enough to discredit the election, or are they just imperfections that still do not significantly affect the almost 4 million lead in that election? Those are the things that will come to play. And when the court issue starts, they will need to establish that indeed there were so many incidences of card reader failure that we cannot say that this election represents the will of the people.
Before, just one more question.
Yeah.
There's been cases where returning officers, REC said they were compelled, like in the case of Imo State, to announce results that they were they've not fully collated. How would you react to that?
That's a very serious one that requires investigation. You're also likely to have pockets of incidences, may not be that exact. For example, you look at cancellations in places like Nasarawa. It was extensive. So there will be cases like that. When you put all these cases together, would they be enough to take away the 4 million votes lead? Those are some of the considerations that we have to look into on the table. If they will not be, for example, how many people in the whole of Imo even came out to vote in the first instance? So you put everything together and you slam it in 4 million, what do you still get, 3.5?
I'd like to thank you very much, Gbolahun Olojede, for coming in. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.